Are you tired of the mainstream media lying to you every single day? You are not alone. Millions of other Americans are sick of the corporate media fake news of the MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, New York Times, other Times, Washington Post, Political. Every single one of them are in the bag for the Democrats. They are all Team DNC. But now you have another option in independent creators like here on the CASHLOREN show. Well, we will go and we will expose the deep state, these unelected bureaucrats, and the mainstream media, along with the Democrats and their friends in the Rhino Uniparty, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Get the facts on the CASHLOREN show. I am your host, America's Truth Teller, shining a bright red light on the corruption and the hoaxes from the mainstream media and the Democrat Party. You're not going to want to miss a single moment. Join the American First Movement Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. This is the CASHLOREN show.
In 2025, we find ourselves in a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage on all three of the major networks, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service, it's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Well, the deep state and the Uniparty is all back up to their old tricks again, but this time it's centered around Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and as she has been busted, as she has been lying about her entire political career. This goes to Benny Johnson, he went in and he investigated where Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was actually from. Let's take a look.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Bronx. This is where AOC says she's from. And this is where AOC is actually from. Welcome to Yorktown, the business hamlet of Yorktown Heights. There's mansions everywhere. It's beautiful, it's green, it's pristine, it's clean. And they even have a Christopher Columbus Society. I thought AOC got all those statues ripped down. Some structural racism right here in AOC's hometown. Today we're going to investigate the biggest lie in all of politics, the fraud of AOC.
And when I was coming up and I cut that first clip out of his, about 11 minutes long, that goes deep into AOC and where she is really from. It had a close to 7 million views. See, this is very much on brand for the Democrat Party, as they lie endlessly, and then they lie to try to pretend that they're one of you, that they're one of the small folks, that they understand where you have been. As this is AOC's entire political career. She started by claiming that she was just a girl from the Bronx, right? Just some poor kid, right? Who grew up in the ghetto, who grew up, with you. But it turns out none of that is true. In fact, she was very rich. She lives in a very good part of 20 plus miles north of where the Bronx actually is. And not only did she live there her entire life, all the way up through high school and through college, until she went and she'd be a Democrat, pretending that she was a kid from the Bronx. Even when she was called out in this last week by Trump and others, she still didn't. I'm just some silly girl from the Bronx, which again is part of this peripheral lie from the Democrats and from AOC. But the one thing they always do, every time they're called out on their lies, the thing that they will always do is they will pretend that they are victims. And I'm sure AOC, she will do one of these two things. She'll either try to ignore this and pretend that it's not happening. That's one of their favorite tricks. Or the other favorite tricks is they'll pretend that they're a victim, right? That you are a racist, or you're a bigot, or you are a homophobe. Or right now, she's anything they can give for her, right? She's a person of color, and she's a woman. And how dare these men try to bring a woman down? You can already hear the excuses, except they won't talk about the one thing that they need to actually talk about, is that she's been lying for her entire career. She is just as phony as the rest of the Democrats. There's not one thing real about her. This is basically stolen valor, but instead of being on the military side, this is just being on her street cred side. As the Democrats, they're trying to bring her up and make her as part of the future of the Democrat Party. I mean, they have her and Bernie Sanders flying all over the United States with their Fight the Oligarchy tour. But of course, is another big lie of the Democrats, as by ironic, is the Democrats are the party of the elites. So the Democrats are the party of the billionaires. It really is amazing that there's even a Republican Party left. When you think that everything that the Democrats have on their side, and when the Democrats pretend that they're fighting the elites and they're fighting the billionaires, but then they are absolutely funded by them. When you have like Kamala Harris, who gets $2 billion to waste on a presidential campaign to lose like that. They have Hollywood behind them. They have fake news behind them. And it's just all the same, from Dan Goldman, right, to being a trust fund baby, to now AOC growing up very wealthy, which is fine. I mean, our side, I have nothing against wealth. You know, you work hard, you earn your income, that's great. That's part of the American dream. That's part of what we want for this country. That is part of an American exceptionalism. She should be proud, shouldn't she? Shouldn't she be absolutely ecstatic to say, hey, you know, my parents worked hard and they gave me a very good life. And if you work hard too, and you can also have a good life and an even better life for your children. I mean, shouldn't she be proud that she has been a benefactor of the American dream instead of trying to be a Marxist communist who wants to tear the country down that made her rich and famous? Well, this goes against everything that the Democrats run on. And it's always comes from the rich and the elite. Do you notice that? It's funny how they always are the ones that turn on our own country when they're the ones that have benefited from its fruits the most. I think it's because they get taught to hate themselves by all these Marxist professors that they go to school for. And they are taught how, you know, America is so bad and look what they did to the Indians and look what they did to the slaves. And there is just no redemption for America. It has blood on its hands. There's no way to ever wash it off. There's no ever way to recover, right? You just must be guilty and you can never apologize enough, especially if you're white. If you're a white man, then you're really, really, really bad and you must be punished. You must be brought down to your knees. Oh, in a way, this is nothing to do with equality. What this has to do then with the entire Democrats' point of view is that this is all about equity. As they look at the world as through their own lens, as we just explained, how they hate America and they hate this country. And because this country is so bad and so evil that you have to give up your rights to them because they are rich, because they have Ivy League degrees, because they are smarter and better than you, then they are the only ones, being the Democrats, that know how to make it right. Not you plebs, you uneducated fools. No. You just pay your taxes, you shut up, and you let the adults take over and be in charge. That's exactly their worldview. And so at the end of their worldview is it starts with America's bad, and then it goes somehow magically until the Democrats are morally right. With all the left isms we'll get into, the one ism that it all spawns from is Marxism, and then it always 100% leads to communism. Because the one thing that Marxism can never explain, as evil as it is for bringing on communism, is they always try to pretend that one side's really bad and the other side's really good. And it's always the bad side that's in power, and then the good side that is weak and impoverished. In traditional Marxism, it does with class warfare. You have the wealthy, the elites, the landowners, and then you have on the other side, you have the poor, innocent people who have nothing. And so they try to rise up the workers to go against the people who have achieved and have gained something. But the thing that the Marxism can never explain is that once these people cause a revolution and tear down society, how do you know they're actually going to be the good guys? You can never explain that. And the reality is, every time that Marxism has been tried, whether they call it socialism or liberalism, progressivism, any ism that they use is really all communism. Every time it has been tried, it has failed. You know, communism has killed more people than all the world wars combined. And one of the ironies and really sad parts about communism is that when they go and they try to tell people how communism, you know, is going to make things right for everybody, what they don't tell you is communism has starved more people to death than all the worlds combined, just in starvations. Not to mention all the gulags and the concentration camps and the tanks running over protesters, just in starvation. It never works. I don't know how else way to say it, but the Democrats, they are fully invested in this. Yet they are educated. I mean, if nothing else, they do go to school. They do go to these Ivy League schools, right? So they're supposed to be better and smarter. So how come they never learn any of their lessons from any of this? And one of the things that I think, as we talked about earlier, is one, they're taught to hate themselves, but two, there's this lust for power. And you look at these Democrats like AOC or any of the other leaders. I mean, you go Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, none of these people have really achieved outside the government. And so they think that it's the government that's going to make everything right. When our understanding understands that the government is not the solution, the government is the creation of the problems. The government comes in and tells you that they're here to fix your problems, run. Okay, that's why we have a Second Amendment right. And that's why we must protect our First Amendment right. But the Democrats, they are thoroughly committed because they want power, as they believe that they are the ones who are going to make America right. When they would just get out of the way, really you will make things right because you are the hero in this journey. There's no one closer to your home than you are. There is no one that knows more about your situation than you do. And people will make bad decisions, make people, there are unjust things that happen in this world. But the decisions that you make in your own home have far more impact than the decisions that Congress makes over in Washington, D.C. And the decisions that they make, we show, as it's grown the federal government over and over again, it's caused more and more taxes just in a single generation. Look at how much they've done. Yet they still try to push this garbage. And when has it gotten better? I mean, name when the Democrats have actually made things better. I mean, sure, they make all the promises, right? How they're going to make things free. So that's their new selling point. In fact, the Democrats, they're so insane now that they think that the real answer is that they are not Marxist enough. The Democrats think that they're people that are in the government are not communist enough. That's why they're so invested in the people like AOC. And that's why people like David Hogg was trying to primary long-term Democrats before they kicked him out. And this is why they have a real problem with somebody like Zoran. It's because he, I think, actually does want to tax the rich, just like Bernie Sanders did. And that's why they took the nominee in 2016 from Bernie Sanders and they gave it to Hillary Clinton. Because the Democrats are the party of the billionaires. And they lie over and over again how they're going to go after the rich, and they're going to go after the billionaires. But every time the Democrats have power, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But here's the Democrats, including Chris Murphy here, promising that the Democrat Party, if you don't believe me, thinks that they need to be more Marxist and more communist.
Certain things that he stands for and says that I don't agree with, but I think you have to pay attention to the fact that you had a candidate in New York City that was talking every single day about the cost of living. And he was proposing really big, sometimes radical ideas to take power from folks who have way too much of it, like the big realty companies that are jacking up rents in New York City and transferring it to regular people.
All right, so that's a whole new Marxist revolution in the Democrat Party. You heard at the end there. So what he do? He blames the giant evil corporations, capitalism. And then it's all these corporations that are bad. And so now you need government, right? You need Big Brother, so communism, to come in and make it right, to take it from the people who have had good for far too long and then redistribute the wealth to the people who are poor. And that fruit sounds sweet on the surface. And this is why they have to keep promising free things, because that fruit is poison. It's a worm on the end of a fish hook. It is the Garden of Eden. It's the apple on the tree. Okay, communism is that snake whispering sweet nothings in your ear to just take a bite. It'll be so delicious. And then by the time you realize they're lying to you, it's far too late. Communism on the surface sounds really, really good, but it always leads to poverty, slavery, and death every single time. The Democrats know this, as well as you know it, but they think that they can lie to you long enough that they can get power. I mean, they were so close. Yeah, 2020, the BLM, Antifa, and all those riots, that was the end of a communist revolution. You see, in a communist revolution, one of the things that many people misunderstand is they think it starts with violence. No, the violence happens at the end of the revolution. Early in the revolution is in the Ivy League schools. It's actually the rich kids, the ones who think they're really smart but have never achieved anything. Thus, AOCs. Well-educated, no accomplishments, not even in Congress. What does she actually approve? Same thing with Democrats. Every time they have power, what happens? They spend a bunch of money, nothing gets fixed, and then they blame everybody else except themselves. And that brought back Trump, but that's a topic for a different time. But this is also why Democrats are all the way down to 17%, and I think probably lower. As the Democrats, they will protect AOC. They will defend her and others because they think that pushing more left is the answer, that being more Marxist is the future, that promising all these social welfare programs is what's going to get them elected and get them more power. That's the poison fruit. Whether they offer you free buses or they offer you, rent controls or government-owned grocery stores. Ask Venezuela. Ask Cuba. Ask anywhere that has tried to do this. Ask Russia, ask China. Hundreds of millions of people have died because they took a bite of the fruit that was promised for free, but there is nothing always free. Ever. The promise of free really leads to the price of your freedom and your life. But fortunately, we woke up, we fought, and we voted for Donald Trump. Because right now, he is the only person standing in the way of the Democrats completing their communist revolution. And over the next 4 years, we'll see how far back we can push it. They invaded our country to have power. They opened our borders. Let in probably 20 plus million or maybe more, all because they thought that this would be people who would buy into this free and vote for Democrats. And then by the time you realized it, it was too late. It was one of the things I learned from interviewing Xi Van Fleet, who escaped Mao's communist China. And one of the things that she taught me that I didn't really understand until I read her book and I listened to her speak is the people who vote for communism, they're never the ones that really pay the heavy price. It's always the next generation. It's their children that suffer the most. I'm way over a break. When we come back, we have a lot more to get into, including AOC, who is now under investigation by the DOJ for a couple different reasons. And then you will not believe what CNN was willing to put on their show. All that and more when we come back. You don't want to miss it after this greedy profit break. This is the CASHLOREN Show.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2025, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage on all 3 of the major networks, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Folks, have you wanted to start a podcast but you just don't know where to begin? Podbeam is your all-in-one solution to host your podcast and distribute it all across the internet. With my code on the affiliate link down below, you will gain also 1 month free to try the Podbeam service. This is really your one-stop solution to hosting your podcast. Record it, you put it up to just a single upload, then that upload will distribute to all of the main platforms all across the internet, including Apple and Spotify and many, many others. It will then also automatically share your podcast across all major social media, making your job easier so you can spend more time recording the podcasts that you love and less time managing them on the back end. Podbeam is your all-in-one solution for your podcast needs. Click on the link below, the CASHLOREN, and get your 1 free month today. The corporate media has lied to the American voters for such a long time that they have lost all their influence as a result. And this has also led to the rise of the independent creators, just like here on the CASHLOREN show, where we take our spare bedroom and convert it into a studio. If you're enjoying this content, it will always be free, but you can continue to help support monetarily if you choose to do so. Click on the locals link. It is only $5 a month. This is just a cup of coffee. Not only will you be supporting an independent creator, but you'll be getting lots of free perks in addition to that as well, including exclusive articles and Sunday shows, and thanking you at the end of videos with your name recognition. Take a moment and consider and help support independent creators as we fight fake news. Go to locals right now, hit the support button for just a cup of coffee a month. It'll be worth every single penny, and you're getting lots of extra benefits too. The Democrats are going all in on communism, even though they're going all the way down to 17%. Some people just don't believe me on this. They don't realize how far left the loony left has gone. But this is way far to one side. And the one thing that they've had for years was the mainstream media and the deep state in their pocket. See, I call this a three-headed beast from the DC abyss. You have the one hand, you have the Democrats that are all in on their uniparty control of the government, the permanent party. And then the second head, you have what we call the deep state. And these are all these unelected bureaucrats that actually run Washington, D.C. behind the scenes. Many of them you've never heard of. You have no idea who they are, what their names are, what they look like. But these are the movers and shakers. These are the policymakers. These are the people that actually write the bills that the senators and the Democrats and Republicans do not read. They just sign them and push them down the road. And then the last head is the fake news networks, the mainstream media. It would be CNN, ABC, NBC, New York Times, LA Times, Washington Post, Political Axios. All of them have been in the team for the Democrats for a very long time. And there was a whole generation that grew up on the fake news networks, not realizing how much they were being lied to. It really wasn't until Elon Musk purchased X that we were finally able to get the news out to the masses to show how badly they were lying. Because it was one thing to lie and not tell the truth. Because there was many out there like you who had watched CNN or watched MSNBC or read a newspaper, whatever your local and national newspaper is in your area, and you would go and you go, well, this doesn't really make sense. I don't agree with this. I mean, I can't be the only one, right? But if you'd go to any of the mainstream media across TV or paperwork, they were all talking the exact same talking points. And so people would think, well, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the oddball here. Maybe I'm the weirdo. But you're not. There are millions and millions of people who think like you. See, that was the illusion. And that was the delusion. It was ironic because that was the misinformation and disinformation were the mainstream media. And their lies, as we were able to expose, became much and much worse. As it's one thing not to tell a story. It's another thing to selectively choose stories to manipulate an audience. But they would take that far beyond just the picking stories. As they would take a story and they'd slice it up. And they would tell you the pieces that they want you to know. And then they would ignore the other pieces that they don't want you to know. And if you had known the entire story, you would have never came to the conclusion that they wanted you to come to. But these Ivy League elites, they know that. And that's why they would lie and manipulate you all the time. And really, it was with Elon Musk's purchase of X that we're finally able to expose them for the liars that they are. Like when they did the Biden in his debate with Donald Trump, and many of you saw that and thought, this is the fake news has been lying to us far worse than we thought. And I remember watching that debate and I was thinking, this isn't even that bad. Like I can pull 20 clips from my computer right now that are way worse than that. But that exposed the fake news from something that they had never been able to come back to. And Tapper can lie in a book all he wants. And Karine Jean-Pierre can pretend that she was duped too. But all of you have seen it now. And it goes all the way to like the suckers and losers hoaxes, or to the 9 bullets hoaxes, to the impeachment hoaxes, to the boxes hoaxes, to Gene Carroll, to the felonies, over and over and over again. These 3-headed beasts from the abyss, from the DC abyss, would lie to you, the people. The first head, the deep state, would make up the stories with sources say, or experts say, and then those would go up to the fake news networks, the second head. The second head would then lie to you using those as cover. And then the third head, the Democrats, would use the deep state and the fake news as their own cover to lie to you. And then that would all go right back to the deep state, who would then open investigations when they leaked the lying information in the first place, justifying it through fake news reporting. But it's all really come from the same port. So you have CNN, you have MSNBC, you have New York Times, Washington Post, LA Times, all the same newspapers, all running the exact same hoax. But because it's coming through all of them, people would think that it was legitimate when it was really just one source. And then they're all just running with it. Of course, anonymous source, experts say. Then we expose them. The 9 bullets hoax is one that's a really good example. When the fake news and they lied about Donald Trump, saying that he wanted to put Liz Cheney in harm's way, meaning shooting bullets at her. Because they were talking about. They cut the clip to where you could only see the parts they wanted you to see, and they played those over and over and over again. But if you saw the entire clip, you would know what Donald Trump was talking about. How these war pigs, they sit safe in DC while they send your sons and your daughters to go die in these useless wars. And if you watch the whole thing, like we were able to play back to back. Right? So we played the parts that the deep state and the fake news did, and then we showed you the full clip. And after the debate, and then after that, it just became more and more obvious. And the fake news networks, they've dropped so far down now that they have no influence left. I mean, I can remember when people actually believed them, and they had like something like a 90% approval rating. Now, only the Democrats listen to them, and only the Democrats post fake news if it's real. And more of you that are like you, that are independent thinkers, that are conversationalists, that want to think for yourselves, realizing you're starting to go out and you're starting to seek out other forms of communication, whether it be like here on the CASHLOREN show, or on different podcasts, or different shows throughout the internet. This has vastly changed how people gain information. And now when thousands listen to fake news, now millions listen to independent creators. We are the news now. And we built it by not lying. Now, you may disagree with my opinions. You may disagree with what I'm saying, and that's all fine. But I'm not going to openly lie to you. I'm not going to cut a video in a way to get you to come to a conclusion that you would never come to on your own. See, that's the difference. And fake news is still learning nothing. They're still trying the same tricks to this very same day. They still think that they can manipulate and lie to people and get away with it because they're in their ivory towers. The liberal elite, just like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is. As she pretended to be a girl from the Bronx, but really she is just another rich, elitist, well-educated liberal who pretends to be a silly little girl from the Bronx. But she is none of those things. Her, like the rest of the Democrats, are lying and hoax. And it looks like she is going to be getting into even more trouble now, as if they will actually do it. You know, I mean, we've seen AOC before pretend to be arrested, but I just laugh as she actually was arrested because it looks like she is under investigation, as Tom Homan reported today, for the possibility that she may have hired illegals on her campaign.
Of the criminal alien staffer that AOC had on staff, maybe you could just start here and as an explainer to me and to this audience, like, how's this even possible?
I can't really comment on it. We don't know if it was illegal status or not at this point. It looks like it might have been temporary status, but I can't comment on the case because it's under investigation. Mm-hmm. As far as her educating people how to evade ICE arrest, she's really educating them on how to be prosecuted, because there are statutes on the books, federal statute, when you knowingly hinder your removal. That's a crime.
Right. If they have a removal order for you, right, you try to slam the door in law enforcement's face, that in itself is a crime and get you arrested. And then, of course, for the deportation order, get deported. But it's funny because she thinks that she's so smart that she's educating these criminal illegal aliens on their constitutional rights when they don't have constitutional rights. All right, the due process for entering our country illegally is you get deported out of our country. That is the due process. And now these activists that are cosplaying as judges, now all these national injunctions are getting removed. And now that ICE and DHS and everybody else is moving into these sanctuary cities and starting more and more to arrest and deport all these illegal immigrants. And then now we have the very well-named Alligator Alcatraz that's going to house these illegal immigrants. And then it's got a runway right there to deport them out of our country. I mean, nonstop flights, I say. They can house, I think, 5,000 people. Let's do 3,000 a day just out of Alcatraz. Bust them in and plane them out over and over and over and over again. And we have tens of millions of illegal immigrants to remove from this country. And then the best way really to get rid of them is for them to self-deport, which last I saw has been over 1 million have already chose that option. And this is really the best option for them. Take the buyout and go home and then come back legally. Our side, as the left tries to mix the two, illegal and legal immigration, our side says legal immigration. We want immigrants to come here. In fact, I am a son of an immigrant. I'm the first person in my country and my family to be born in this country. My family came here legally, went through all the paperwork, all the problems, went through the long process, came here. And then my father, who was not a citizen, became a citizen, and then I was born here in this country. All right, so I myself, an immigrant, son of an immigrant. There are many, many stories like that. And that is the way. Now, I do agree that our legal immigration system, it does need some changes. And it does need to be modernized and in some ways made easier for people to come here who want to be a part of our way of life. But let me be very clear. The ones that want to wave foreign flags should be removed from our country. And if they are citizens, in my opinion, they should have their citizenship revoked and then they can be sent to whatever country the flag they're waving from. If you're going to come to our country, you wave our flag. If you're going to come to our country, you speak our language. If you're going to come to our country, you don't get welfare, you don't get Social Security, you don't get Medicaid, you don't get to suck off the tits of the taxpayers. You earn your way. And you pay into the system, you don't take from the system. We want contributors. Right? We don't want to import the third world like the Democrats do and grow the federal government to the point to where it just becomes this huge, giant communist blob that you can never escape from. And they're taxing you like other places in the world where you have nothing left after they take all your money from the people that work and then give it to the people who don't. Illegal immigration is the biggest fight in our country right now. And then after that fight is also in our schools to remove this Marxist leftist ideology. Two sides of the coin, but the immediate threat is all the people who come here illegally to remove them from our country. Then you have AOC now, speaking of removing them from our country, they're now trying to stop ICE. You've seen this all over the news, from protests to riots to trying to burn down buildings again. Now that they're trying to threaten ICE agents to the point to where ICE agents, they have to wear masks because these leftist radicals will try to identify them, right? They'll take pictures, they'll put them up on the internet, they'll figure out who they are, and then they'll threaten and harass them, not just them, but their families too. And this is really just a bully tactic from the left because they want people too afraid to enforce the law for the people will just cave and give in and give the Democrats what they want. Because if you don't, what the Democrats will try to do then is they'll try to make your life so miserable that they'll try to break your will to fight for your freedoms. That's what they're trying to do, these ICE agents. Make it so painful that people won't sign up to be ICE agents or won't actually do the deportations. But now to protect the ICE agents, they have to wear masks to protect their identity. And all these left communists across these Democrat cities and states are now trying to put up no mask laws, which one won't work because the federal government has jurisdiction over states. But it just shows you how far the left is willing to go to protect illegal criminals from you, the American voters. And now there's an app out which apparently it's I'm trying to think, like it's community driven, if that's the right description. So it's basically people report if you've ever had like a speeding app or something where people report, hey, I saw a police car, trafficking people here, or there's a speed trap there. But this is for trying to track ICE and federal agents to stop people from being deported. And this app made it on CNN, and as CNN always does, is they play this app, but then they try to double back, pretend, well, we're not, promoting the app. We're just educating you on the app. But here's all the information if you want to sign up for the app. And Tom Homan also responds to this.
Turns out right now that CNN is pushing an app to track ICE agents to help criminal aliens evade being detained. We have the article up right here along with the clip. What's your response to CNN?
It's disgusting. So right there, the job's already dangerous. But when you're out there tracking ICE movements and giving people heads up they're coming, that just puts the danger at a whole new level. It's only a matter of time for someone sits in hiding and waits for an ICE agent and tries to take them out. I mean, this is horrendous that a national media outlet will be out there trying to forecast law enforcement operations throughout the country.
I really hope that they're held accountable for this, because they are putting actual law-abiding citizens who are enforcing our laws lives at risk. They do not mistake for a single second. They know exactly what they're doing. And like the left always does, is they try to pretend that they're not. They'll say, like, we don't want a civil war, if you remember, like Maxine Waters, but if you don't give us what I want, then there will be a civil war. Okay, I'm not calling for one. I'm just warning you. So they play that double line there. They're like CNN. We're not doxing ICE agents. We're saying that it's bad. But here's this app that tells you how to do it. See the line they try to play on both sides. They know what they're doing. The left understands that they can't win the battle for ideals because on the wrong side of every single issue, and not just by a little bit, these are big 80-20 issues, and the Democrats are so far down that even their own polling has them at 17%. You voted for Donald Trump. 77 million of you. He won all 7 swing states. And everything that was against him, he still fought and won. Because really, he's not fighting for himself. He's a billionaire populist. He doesn't need any of this. What he was fighting for is for you, the American people, our way of life, against the left who is trying to take all that away from you. Now they're on their back heel. They've lost the Senate. The Democrats have lost the House. The Democrats now, the SCOTUS has ruled, has lost a big chunk of their last gasp of air. They're activists cosplaying as judges. We're in the final round of the fight for our country's soul. This is really Americans versus communism. This isn't exaggeration at all. That is what we're up against. We have the American people, you, the American voters, who love our country, who believe in American exceptionalism, who want their children to have a better life than they do. Then you have the communist left, the Democrats, and whatever ism they want to try to hide behind, whether it be socialism or progressivism or activism or liberalism, all these isms are just repackaged communism. And they're all designed to tax you into poverty so they can permanently rule over you. That was the entire point of the illegal immigration under the Biden administration, was to bring in an entire brand new voting bloc from the third world. And our elections are not decided by much. Even the presidential election, you could be decided by 70,000 votes. And I understand on the top line, it might say millions, but really it comes down to just a couple counties in a couple states. And in those, it could be tens of thousands of votes that swing a presidential election one way or another. And so what's going to happen is there's 20 million illegal immigrants in this country. Not to mention how many know about our census, that our census just does a heads count. It doesn't check your status if you're an American or not. So if you're an illegal and you're counted in the census, that is literally the definition of a foreign interference in our elections. Something that the Democrats accuse the Republicans of, but some of the Democrats sure seem to vote a lot against. I find that very suspicious. And with that, we're going to go on a break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about Elon Musk and the big, beautiful bill and his fight. And is he on the right side here? As some that I find that I agree with, but others I think he is very far off about. We'll talk about that, a whole lot more, including Donald Trump going to visit the Alligator Alcatraz as you're going to put a highway speeds onto deportations. You're not going to miss that or anything else. We'll be right back on this greedy coffee break. This is the Cash Loren Show.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2025, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage on all 3 of the major networks, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Folks, folks, have you wanted to start a podcast but you just don't know where to begin? Podbeam is your all-in-one solution to host your podcast and distribute it all across the internet. With my code on the affiliate link down below, you will gain also 1 month free to try the Podbeam service. This is really your one-stop solution to hosting your podcast. Record it, you put it up to just a single upload, then that upload will distribute to all of the main platforms all across the internet, including Apple and Spotify and many, many others. It will then also automatically share your podcast across all major social media, making your job easier so you can spend more time recording the podcasts that you love and less time managing them on the back end. Podbeam is your all-in-one solution for your podcast needs. Click on the link below, the CASHLOREN, and get your 1 free month today. The corporate media has lied to the American voters for such a long time that they have lost all their influence as a result. And this has also led to the rise of the independent creators, just like here on the CASHLOREN show, where we take our spare bedroom and convert it into a studio. If you're enjoying this content, it will always be free, but you can continue to help support monetarily if you choose to do so. Click on the locals link. It is only $5 a month. This is just a cup of coffee. Not only will you be supporting an independent creator, but you'll be getting lots of free perks in addition to that as well, including exclusive articles and Sunday shows, and thanking you at the end of videos with your name recognition. Take a moment and consider and help support independent creators as we fight fake news. Go to locals right now, hit the support button for just a cup of coffee a month. It'll be worth every single penny, and you're getting lots of extra benefits too. Well, politics is a very dirty business. It's one where people will lie and stab you right in the back and then smile to your face. And sometimes people realize how dirty it is, and sometimes people don't. But it also makes some of the weirdest bedfellows and friends that I think we ever had. I mean, how long did you think like Elon Musk and Donald Trump would be campaigning together? You said that just 2 years ago. Would anybody have believed it? I mean, Elon Musk for his entire life has just been kind of middle left. I mean, he hasn't even been that involved in politics. But he basically, I would call him left. How many issues did he actually go on the right side of? And it wasn't until the left, they pushed so far to the left that just like many of you out there, Elon Musk never changed. His meme will always stick with me, where he's just sitting on the kind of the middle left. And the left keeps pushing more left. And, you know, he's never moved. They keep pushing more left. And then all of a sudden, Elon Musk, he turns around and he looks, and he's way over on the right, though he's never moved. How many of you feel that way? I mean, I think most Americans, if you'd ask them, really aren't strong right or strong left. Probably a vast majority of the country is somewhere in the middle. But most part, I think most would be socially becoming more on the left, but economically and government-wise would be more on the right. I mean, does that describe you? I have a feeling that describes most of America. And there's nothing really wrong about that in my mind. I mean, we're supposed to be a country in the middle. This is why our entire Constitution, our republic, is supposed to push us into. And so because one side can go so far to the other side that they don't represent the country anymore. And right now, while it's the left, it can also happen on the right too. There's like right now, we're seeing a push from the Republican side that are pulling far and far away from the neocons that have a stranglehold on our side, when really they were just Democrats pretending to be Republicans, or rhinos, Republicans in name only. So this creates people that are now friends and work together that never would have just from a few years ago. And the Democrats, as they continue to push further and further to the left, they push more and more people into our way of thinking. And as you brought up Elon Musk, this also brings up like RFK. I mean, RFK walking up on stage and shaking Donald Trump's hand. Did you ever think you would see that? Or Tulsi Gabbard joining the Trump's administration? Did you ever think that a Republican would have the popular vote of the U.S. citizens in an election? And I remember even when the Republicans, when we'd win elections like the presidency, that was always the Democrats, their fallback. Well, you might have won because of the votes, but you didn't win the popular vote. You know, I mean, sure, you have the Electoral College, but most of America doesn't, want you, right? Because they voted against you. But then Donald Trump wins the popular vote, and also like, yeah, that doesn't matter. That's just not true. And then they can't explain where the 15 million votes, 20 million votes for Biden went. I think all of you understand that. This brings us more into Elon Musk, because there's a misunderstanding, I think, about Elon Musk and about people like RFK. And I talked about this right from the start. Okay, they are not conservatives, and they are not MAGA. I mean, we have a lot of crossover with them. We have a lot to agree with. And I will never be able to say this enough to thank you for Elon Musk and his belief in free speech. Because if he had not purchased X and turned Twitter into an actual free speech platform, Kamala Harris is probably president right now. And then now the 20 million plus illegal immigrants that the Democrats illegally facilitated in our country would be becoming citizens. And I'm sure they'd be letting even more in. Right? Open the floodgates. I mean, why not another 20 million? So there's a lot of really good things Elon Musk has done. And we'll never be able to thank him enough, but he's not MAGA. And because of that, when we see some of these blowups like are happening right now, I don't think some are surprised about this, but you really shouldn't be. Is Elon Musk, he's brilliant, but I don't think he's ever really been so deeply involved in politics before that now he's actually seeing it from the inside. Welcome to how corrupt the swamp is. As he went in and he joined the Trump administration, he helped Trump get elected, and then he helped create Doge, repackaged really, from all people, Barack Hussein Obama. But it is what it is. And so that got created, and now they started exposing government waste. And then you start to see the real federal government, just how corrupt this deep state is. And not just the Democrats, because the Democrats, you expect this. We expect the Democrats to lie. We expect the Democrats to have $5 trillion come out and then $7 trillion go out after $5 trillion comes in. And then if you try to ask any questions, they call you a racist or a bigot or a homophobe. You're not allowed to know where your tax dollars are going. And they've gotten away with this for forever. I mean, pretty much since I've been alive. Anytime someone tries to investigate, it gets shut down and no one's allowed to ask any questions. There's never really a real investigation to where all this money is going. I mean, USAID has never really been shut down before. No one's ever really seen just how corrupt these NGOs are and how they move your tax dollars here in the United States and then throughout the world, pushing leftist liberal ideology. It really amazing that we have a Republican Party still. I think that's where Elon really got a taste, because Elon understands, and he is right in that we have to stop the spending. We can't keep spending more than we take in, or society collapses. There's no more West. There's no more United States. We have massive amounts of inflation. And then once that inflation hits hyperinflation, it's over. I mean, that's essentially what happened to Germany, what happened to Venezuela, as the two times that has happened in our modern era. And it can happen here too if we don't stop it. So, and with Elon Musk, there I agree with, and I think most of you would agree with him. The part that I don't agree with is how he's going about it. now that he's seen the reality of politics, because the reality is this: you can't get everything you want. Even on our side, you have the Democrats. Okay, if they had 53 votes, they would be voting for every single thing that their president wanted, because they are all sheep in it together. They all think the same. They all talk the same. And if you don't, they kick you out of their party. Just like if you don't agree with them, they try to shut you up with slander. The inside the Democrat politics work the exact same way. But on our side, on the Republican side, it's far more deceptive and it's far worse, because they get in front of cameras and they say all the conservative things. And they'll get on X and they'll write all the right things. But the Macy's of the world and the Rand Pauls of the world, the Mitch McConnells, the Mike Johnsons, they are the definition of rhino. Okay, they are uniparty Democrats through and through. And they pretend to be Republicans, they pretend to be conservatives, they're none of those things. And it's unfortunate for our side, because that's what makes it so hard to get our things to pass. When you have like the Collins and you have the Murkowskis and all those people that just will not get on board because they think they're safe in the districts. Now we have to prove otherwise. It's going back to the election, for example, as they tried to backstab us back then. You remember the CR? It was over 16,000 pages, I want to say. And then all the Republicans, with Mike Johnson, they tried to put it through the House and into the Senate before Donald Trump took office. Okay, they all tried to stab you in the back. And it was because Elon Musk and Donald Trump got so involved and threatened the primary people that they stopped it and they made it a clean CR. This is again happening now with the big, beautiful bill. Is it perfect? It's not. Is it better than what we've gotten in a very long time? It is. And there's a lot of lies and misinformation that are coming out about this big bill, such as the increase in the debt. When it all comes from the department, the department of I'm blanking on the department now. I should have written it down, but it's all coming from this report from the government that they've been wrong every single time. And now all of a sudden you're supposed to believe them this time, right? Even though they've been wrong every single time, now you got to trust them. And Elon Musk, unfortunately, has bought into this. And you see some of the data. The rabbit hole on X posted this great graph, and this showed how the debt has always gone up. It's never gone down, and it's going up faster and faster. But you never had a president turn it around. To which, again, I agree. But if you think that within 6 months that we completely turn around the government and stop all the spending, I just don't think that's very realistic. But we can do it incrementally and then gut as much as we can, such as with our tariffs. They're bringing in trillions of dollars. I think I got the number here, or billions, excuse me. Let me find it real quick. Here it is. So this month's numbers, so this is from Charlie Kirk. This month's numbers, they have gone up a lot. June is set for another big increase of $27 billion. This is from tariffs. The money coming into the U.S. coffers. And so we're making the adjustments. We also have to fund the deportation of all these illegal immigrants, and we have to finish the wall. This is the main fight of Trump's presidency. And then the next one, of course, is defunding the Department of Education and returning schools back to the states that ultimately lead to returning public schools, removing them, and then replacing them with school choice that you, the parents, you take your tax dollars and you decide where that money goes. So that you invest your money into the child's education that aligns with your values. And let the free market capitalism decide. I'm really hoping and praying that that's what this leads to. But Elon Musk, he wants it all now. As he ran Doge, and in running Doge, he saw how corrupt our government is. I mean, when you have the Department of Treasury spend $5 trillion and was told by the Biden administration to just approve all spending no matter what. And now we have $5 trillion spent, and no one knows where the money went because they weren't even putting marks into the money to show where it's going. And so now Elon Musk is threatening that he says to just pretend the two-party system, it's really the uniparty in reality. Again, I would agree with this statement, but I don't agree with his statement and then his solution. Because his solution is try to create a new party. And this never, ever works out well, especially for the side that he is trying to put in, which is like the middle. Because I'll tell you exactly what will happen. Let's say we get 3 parties and they're equal. They won't be equal. Because the left, they're always the sheep. They will always band together. So they will be the strongest party. And then you have the conservative party. And then you kind of have the middle party. But the middle party will mostly be left. All right, that will be the middle Democrats and all the rhinos. And they will just gang up with the left party and make deals. And the conservative party will be no more. That's where it happens every single time that they try the 3-party system. It never works the way that Elon Musk thinks it works as. You just won't do it. The right way was the way he did it before the elections. When you threaten these politicians and you say, you don't do what the American people voted for, we will remove you from office. Okay, that's how our system's supposed to work. But Elon screwed up. And hopefully this time he doesn't have to delete his post like he did last time when he just went insane on X. And I remember saying at the time, somebody needs to take Elon's phone away from him because he's digging a hole he'll not be able to climb out of. And he's doing it again here. As much as I can't praise Elon enough, I am a huge fan of his. Without Elon and X, I'm not here. Without Elon and X, we don't have independent creators to fight fake news networks, right? We don't have a real free town square. Okay, Elon Musk has contributed more to society than most people will ever. And he's a great man, and I have a lot of respect for him. But he's wrong on this. And hopefully he comes back into the middle right and he realizes that. He takes some time to think about this and he has a conversation with the Trump administration and starts to take a closer look to what we're dealing with. On the surface, I agree with him. We have to defund the government. I mean, you're preaching to the choir. We have to cut spending. You're preaching to the choir. But the way he wants to go about it will actually do the opposite. It will give the left the permanent power that they crave, and then all the things that Elon Musk wants done will never, ever happen. And with that, all the rest of these stories are going to have to go back in the stack for another time as we're over on the hour. We'll be back again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. This is the CASHLOREN Show. Well, independent thinkers, we have come to the top of another hour. The rest of the stories have to go back in the stack. If you enjoyed this content, take a moment, hit the subscribe, turn on notifications. Most importantly, share a conservative message with your friends and family. We will be back Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern here on the CASHLOREN Show. We will go and we will expose and fight the fake news networks who have been getting away with lying to you for decades. Our content will always be free, but if you'd like to support more, you can do so monetarily over at locals at the CASHLOREN Show. And there's great rewards and benefits for doing so. For only about a cup of coffee a month, you will receive exclusive articles and you'll have your name at the end of the video, just like these other fine patriots have. If that sounds interesting to you, go over to locals right now for just a cup of coffee a month and help independent creators stay free, keep the lights on, and continue to expose the fake news networks. We'll see you again on the next episode. This is the CASHLOREN Show.